Okay, I think we're set to begin. Okay, so welcome everybody to our final session for the semester at Vedic Vision Society. So it's been an exciting journey, and very grateful to all of you for your enthusiasm and participation and support of the organization. So in thinking about how to kind of conclude this semester, knowing that final exams are coming up sooner than we'd probably all like, one thought was to have a session dedicated to meditation. And in one sense, it's always a great practice to meditate, just for a myriad of benefits that we can glean from it. But especially now when it looks like our responsibilities, our stress levels, everything is about to be amplified that much more. And so meditation can give us the ability to put things in perspective, be more effective with our current responsibilities, and other things. So the title of today's discussion is The Power to Stop. And it's about unleashing that capability through meditation. So we all have these different responsibilities, things clamoring for our attention. I'm willing to bet that between when you first set foot in this classroom and now, you've gotten at least several texts, maybe messages in WhatsApp, different things, right? Yes? Just things vying for our attention, always grabbing, screaming to be responded to, reacted to, new pieces of information. In a way, it represents a kind of decentralization of our lives, where instead of moving from one area of activity to another, it's now multiple areas of activities, always trying to get in front of the line. And so I'm going to ask you all to start with an individual exercise. So if you want to make a list in your phones, I'm just going to ask everyone, and I'll also participate, just to list out what you consider to be your responsibilities. Responsibilities meaning something you are either personally in charge of doing as a matter of duty or something that you feel enough ownership of to consider it, this is mine. It could be something like a pet or responsibility as a student. Could be responsibility to my parents. Just a few examples. So we'll take a couple minutes, just write down in a list and specifying a list, and it'll become clear in a little bit, of what you consider your responsibilities. You're awesome. Okay. How many want a little more time? All right, so one thing that may become clear is this list can go on and on and on and on if you want to slice it in different ways. Just a little bit of sharing. Did anything pop up on the list that was surprising or maybe not so apparent when you first started this part of the exercise? Okay. So I'm going to ask you to take this list, and I'm going to ask you to self-evaluate on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being like, I have that responsibility, but I don't really care about it. And 5 being, I have this responsibility, and this is my life. So 1, I have it, I don't really care about it. 5 being, this is my life. Okay? Go. Okay, how many need more time? All right. The final metric that I'm going to ask you to evaluate yourselves on is, again, self-evaluation. You don't need to call people and get immediate feedback. In your eyes, quality of execution of those responsibilities. 1 being, it's my responsibility, but in my heart of hearts, I know I don't do a very good job of it. 5 being, I know I'm just nailing it. Okay? Anyone need more time? Just a quick scan of your list. Any insights into that? Do you generally see alignment with this is important to me and quality of execution, how satisfied I am with my ability to meet that responsibility? How many of us in general are aligned? Being able to value a responsibility and quality, in a quality way, execute that responsibility. How many of us, majority of the time, there was a gap between what I value as my responsibility and how I apply myself to that responsibility? How many of us had majority gaps? Okay, well, then this is for you. Fantastic. And I want to start off by just the disclaimer that this is a journey. It's not that we're going to walk out of here and suddenly our life has changed and we're just crushing those responsibilities that we say we value. It's a journey, and it's a journey involving calming the mind, to better focus, to empower ourselves, to be more aligned with what I say I care about versus what I do that relates to what I care about. So I want to transition that to well, first of all, just a little bit of how many of us familiar with Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, it's a fairly popular book. You may have heard of it. So in that book, there's a verse in chapter 2, verse 41. I'm just going to read just to get the exact quote. Those who are on this path, and in this case, Krishna speaking to Arjuna about the spiritual path. So those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. It says something a lot about our ability to focus, to apply ourselves, to limit the distractions, and our ability to encounter success. And just sharing a personal story. So I work from home. It's great most of the time, except when I am on calls, and sometimes I forget to lock the door and my daughter comes in, and so I might be leading a discussion with my colleagues and my daughter starts climbing all over me, and video calls are still encouraged. So I've developed a very unique ability to be able to just keep going even when I have this wonderful toddler crawling all over me. But just imagine situations where there are certain expectations of us to meet our responsibilities, and we have these other distracting influences in our life. What is our ability to effectively meet those responsibilities in life when we're bombarded with these distractions? So to help with that, as a starting point, as a tool, I want to introduce you to the Eisenhower kind of quadrant ability of looking at what's coming our way. Let me get the exact word. It's Eisenhower matrix. That was it. How many of us have heard of the Eisenhower matrix? Okay. Well, by the end of this, you'll all be raising your hands. So the Eisenhower matrix is a quadrant to assess, and it's meant not to be a one-time exercise, it's meant to be a recurring exercise of evaluating what our responsibilities are for that particular week. What's important and what's urgent. So we can divide our responsibilities into, we'll say important, and then I'm not going to write all the letters, so I'll just put NI, not important. And then this is urgent, and then not urgent. So you can figure out quadrant 1, and then this is, I'm sorry, this is supposed to be urgent up here. Oh, that's okay. I'll just do it this way. So, okay. Okay. So you can use your powers of deduction to conclude there are certain responsibilities which are both important and urgent. They are urgent but not important. Or they are important, not urgent, not urgent, not important. Make sense? And this is a great way to start, first of all, getting a snapshot of what's going on in our lives. Just to put these different responsibilities that we've made a list of, we can start to break those down into the more short-term, I guess, planning view that something like this would lend itself to. And start to understand, is my life filled with activities that fuel me? They're important to me, but they're not urgent, quadrant 2, which is kind of the ideal space to be in. Of course, it's not really possible or practical to live exactly in there, but what most of us may find is a heaviness in important, urgent. How many of us would consider ourselves procrastinators? It's a common syndrome. Yes. And so when you procrastinate, let's say you've had a month to work on a project or a paper, and first week into that month goes by, no progress. Second week, third week, fourth week, you start thinking about it, and then that weekend before it's due is when it becomes like, whoa, the house is on fire, I've got to... It's amazing how efficient we can become when we're working in that first quadrant, right? But what do you find is your experience when we're working in that first quadrant? What's the experience like? Very tense, okay. What else? Huh?
Stressful.
Tense, stressful.
Quality goes down.
Quality goes down, yes.
Efficiency to Google.
Huh?
Efficiency to Google well.
And what and or. Maybe you start knowing how Google works.
That's true. You can learn very surprising things in that first quadrant. But if you were to take these words that we're hearing, would you categorize them as positive experiences? Because what's the focus? Is the focus on creating a product that you can stand by? Or is the product more just, let me just get through this? And then,
Get through this.
yeah, just get through it. So it's a very different mindset. So this quadrant, it's important, it's urgent, we need it done now. Doesn't lend itself to our best work, and it provides a very reactionary space to addressing our responsibilities. Reaction means the opposite of thoughtful approach. I see this looming deadline in front of me, I need it to make it go away. Versus, how many of us have had experiences in the second quadrant? It's important, but the house is not on fire yet. How many of us have had that experience? I hope everyone at some point in their lives. But yes. And how would you describe that experience?
We have time, so we can do it.
about this big. It, when well made, is light, it's fluffy, it has a beautiful golden brownish color, and it has been soaked for several hours minimum in the sweetest syrup you can imagine. This syrup has the consistency of a thinner maple syrup with hints of flavoring of cardamom, rose, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of sugar. And that liquid has soaked into this beautiful, light, fluffy, lightly fried, golden brown ball. Sweet gooiness and the texture of slightly moist bread. And then it happily leaves a little bit of a burning sensation in your throat because it's so saturated with sugar. Now, who wants to talk about their experience when we're just describing the gulab jamun? How many of us were reliving the experience of eating a gulab jamun? Okay. And if you've never had one, I highly recommend it. I'm sorry we didn't bring any today. I should have thought about that. But, so meditation, an intense focus on something or someone. For that moment when we were talking about a gulab jamun, we weren't here in Wishnik Hall, 117. We were in our minds, connecting with that experience. And so in a very broad sense, meditation is an intense focus on someone or something. Now when we apply that focus to our responsibilities, magic can happen. But this is not a matter of an artificial imposition on the mind. I just need to focus more. If I try to rely on my own ability, I could have very strong, let's say, willpower, but ultimately it wears out. And so what we're going to try to do with this meditation exercise is connect something deeper within us that's beyond this layer of perhaps our individual responsibilities. And we're going to encounter that ability with the power of sound. And I'm just going to play some different sounds for you. I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes and in your minds, really be attuned to how you feel as I play these different sounds, okay? Okay? What did you feel?
Sounds like Chicago downtown streets.
How did you feel?
Rush noise.
Noise, okay, rush.
Feeling of wanting to get away from there.
You want to get away from there? Okay.
Or the urgency to reach work or something like that.
An impetus to do something. Okay. Yeah, when you hear that noise and activity. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Otherwise, we'll go on to the next sound. So close your eyes again. Feelings. You felt joyful?
Peaceful. Confused.
Confused? Okay.
Yeah, I was confused too.
Okay. Well, that's okay. And there's no right or wrong to this. It's more just being attuned with how the sound that we surround ourselves with can affect our emotional state, and we'll learn later, even our ability to focus. Okay, so we'll get out of the cities. We'll start to move to, well, no, actually, a couple more. Okay, and then we'll move on to another sound. Feeling on this one.
Still sounds weird.
Yeah, I think that might be a limitation of the sound system, come to think of it, because there's that constant ambient drone even when there's not supposed to be. And then let's move on to something else. Feelings on that one?
Peaceful.
Soothing.
Yeah. Soothing. Yeah. So we're starting to move into different. And that last one?
Scary like a horror film.
Oh, this is interesting. Relaxing and scary. Wow. Okay.
At first it's nice, but we can't stay there for too long.
Ah, that's interesting. So the sound needs to have some kind of movement to grab the mind. Like it's not enough to hook the mind into the sound. There's something that needs to keep it engaged as well in order to focus. That's interesting.
Like something is approaching.
Ah. Nice, nice. So thank you for going on that journey with sound. And so with that note of sound and the ability to transport, so every week we've been chanting together through this meditation. And this was kind of a lead up to it, just to understand, in order to focus, in order to calm the mind, to bring ourselves in alignment with what we say is important to us in our responsibilities, meditation practice becomes extremely important. And you'll see a variety of benefits, a better ability to focus the mind. And the amazing thing is you can literally do it anywhere, anytime. Even if it's, you're in the study, you're in the classroom, professor's about to give you your exam in a couple of minutes. You can even start this meditation process right before the exam. And I know when I was a student here, when I first just got started on this meditation practice, I would frequently do that. And it was just amazing in its ability to help me become more centered and present in that moment. Just so, again, it's not about dedicating more time to true up the difference between importance and quality. It's about being more present. And so this Maha Mantra exercise that we do, where we audibly say a mantra, mantra, to relieve the mind. Man is mind, tra to relieve. So relieve the mind of all of the distractions that block us from understanding my identity and that eternal source of energy that we are connected to, that eternal source of love and compassion, that higher consciousness, God. And so through this meditation practice, we can become aligned with that. And when we're connected to the source, then ultimately, well, there's a saying that when we have $1 million, our $10 problems go away. So I'll leave it at that, and then just ask everyone, to the degree that you're comfortable, to participate in this meditation exercise. And in this meditation exercise, if you could. just going to ask you to really just go into this with a mood of wanting to be connected. So wanting to feel that connection, wanting to experience that connection in order to be able to do our respective duties, our services, that much more effectively, with that much more integrity. I'm not sure why it is off, so forgive me. Give me a minute. Okay. No, I'll just write it. That's much easier. Go up again. So again, for those of you that weren't here for the time when we went through this, the mantra we recite is called the Hare Krishna. There it is. All right, I guess. Where Hare addresses the energy of God, Krishna, the name of God, and Rama, that pleasure potency, that eternal, higher, transcendental, meaning beyond this material experience, pleasure potency. And so it's Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can say it anytime, anywhere, and just focus on their three, let's say, keys or tips to get the most out of this meditation exercise. The first is just start a meditation practice. And the second one is to just hear it one syllable at a time. Really just draw your mind